Start budgeting for free today. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's the Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Ken Coleman, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author of the book Paycheck to Purpose, and host of the Ken Coleman Show, is my co-host today. We're going to be talking to you about your life and your money, and Ken especially talking about your work and how to get some done to make you some money. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Linda is in Miami. Hi, Linda. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So my sister has been on probation from work for the past few months, and she just told me this last week. So it looks like she's going to be laid off or fired for poor performance, and she's called to let me know that she's going to be moving in with us. So this is not okay with me for several reasons, financial boundaries, home dynamics, etc. So I don't know what to do. I mean, I feel really bad. She's my sister. I have an extra bedroom, but I don't really have the space, or, I'm in debt myself, so I can't take on another person. And so I'm just calling to get your advice.
How old is she?
Almost 60, or 59.
59?
Yes.
I thought you were going to say 19. So why can't she perform at work at 59 years old?
Well, I've seen this been coming for years. She's very unmotivated. She's smart. She has 2 master's degrees. She's got a 6-figure job, but she's just let her life go downhill slowly but surely. Her weight, her finances, her job performance. There is some prescription pain medications that come into play, which I think just zap her motivation to perform well. But, she's let this happen to herself, and now I feel like I'm expected to solve her problem for her.
Yeah. And so you and I both know that loving her well is not allowing her to continue on the path that she's on, instead make her face down these demons and turn the corner on them, right?
Right, exactly.
And so coming to hide in your spare bedroom is just enabling her continued spiral.
I agree. And
so just tell her that. Just tell her that.
And she'll be very
I love you too much. I don't care. I love you too much to allow you to continue on this path, or me to participate with you on you continuing on a path that is destructive to you. You have refused to address your lack of motivation, your painkiller addiction, and your weight. And you need to address those things, and you can't hide in my spare bedroom and not address them, because I love you so much.
Okay.
And then she's going to be angry at you.
Right.
It's very predictable. Because she feels entitled to something that's not hers, your bedroom.
So, and she's also kind of using that card because, it was
What
our
card?
family house. Well, I'll explain. So I care for our elderly mother at my house, and in my mom's will, she gives us the house 50-50. But I'm explaining to her that upon my mother's death, that doesn't mean right now.
So it's not your house. It's your mother's house.
So I had to take out a mortgage on the house.
No, it's your mother's house.
Well, true, but
Is it in your name or your mother's name?
It is. Both
Okay.
of ours.
Quit talking around the barn then. It's your mother's house. It's not your house.
Okay, but I'm on the deed, so I don't. It depends.
Well, how'd you get on the deed?
Well, because I had to take a mortgage out on the house to pay for my mother's caregiver, and since my mother doesn't have a job, I had to get a mortgage. In order to get a mortgage, I had to get on the deed.
Are you single?
So I am.
Okay. How old are you?
I am 54.
Okay. All right. Well, you're the owner of the house then. Your name is on the deed. It's not your mother's house. I was wrong. It's your house, okay? And your mother's.
Okay.
You and your mother own it together. Correct. Your sister's not on the deed.
Correct.
Okay. Then she doesn't have any rights. Morally, legally, ethically, emotionally, nothing. Now, the instant that your mother passes, you will be selling this house because you're going to be required to otherwise own half of it with said sister, and that ain't going to plan either.
No. Yeah,
Okay.
no.
So be ready to move.
Right. Well, I'm hoping to get all my ducks in order. I've been listening to you nonstop, so I'm hopefully I have a few years to get all my finances worked out. So.
Okay, here's the thing.
I'd like to stay
There's
there.
a couple of basic Henry Cloud type principles in here from the book Boundaries. Let's just recant them. I'm just channeling my inner Dr. John Deloney, Ken. And so I think the first principle is people who don't respect your boundaries are always upset when you put a boundary in place.
Yes, we've had that.
So as soon as you say no, expect her to have a little duck fit in the floor.
Okay.
Squawking and flapping around and all that stuff that she does, okay? And then she's going to play the guilt trip card, and she's going to play all the cards that people play when they want something that's not theirs.
Right. She's telling me she's going to have to live in her car.
Oh, bullcrap. How about get motivated and get a job? Or how about just actually doing your work at your job so you don't get fired? If you're living in your car, sweetie, it's your fault.
Right.
Okay? So, and that's rule number one, okay, is that you set a boundary with boundaryless people. They 100% of the time get upset. You just always expect it. Rule number two, enablers are nice people that give drunks alcohol because they are too sweet to say no. But it's not real love. Real love is, I want you to have a better life, my sister. Living in this bedroom, hiding from reality, continuing to spiral downward is not good for you. I love you too much to let you live here. This is not about you in this case, in this discussion, Linda. It's about her. You care too much about her to give a drunk a drink.
Yes,
to allow her to continue in a lazy, unmotivated, painkiller addicted, obese manner.
Right.
None of these things are good for you, sweetie. I love you too much. You're not addressing the stuff in your life, and I'm not going to go there. What do you got, Ken?
I just hear a person, Linda, you're afraid of her, and there's some history behind that fear. And I think...
Oh, she's your older sister.
Yeah, she's the older sister. Am I right that there's some fear based on history?
I don't have fear. I guess I feel sorry for her. It's kind of like something's turned and I'm the bigger sister and I care for my mother and I take on all the responsibilities.
Yeah, but my point is,
left to try to clean up her.
You're afraid of letting her down.
You're afraid of this conflict.
Like her future is on your shoulders. And here's what I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, I do feel that way.
I know.
Sure.
So here's what I would tell you. Everything Dave said, I rubber stamp, but I would say this. You're going to have to choose today to focus your mind on how awful your life will be if you let her come back into it, instead of focusing on how awful it's going to be when she throws her duck fit. And Dave's right, that's going to happen. But I think you have to choose between the two evils, and her being in your house is way more evil than you telling her, grow up, sis.
For her.
Yes.
Love her well enough to help her heal. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey guys, it's Rachel Cruz here to tell you about a faith-based alternative to health insurance that can make healthcare more affordable. Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM allows members to share each other's healthcare costs, and it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Step 1, choose the healthcare provider you want. Step 2, submit your eligible bills. And step 3, get reimbursed. CHM members take care of your eligible medical bills. With no networks and the freedom to choose your healthcare provider, CHM is the best option for Christians who want to take care of their families and help other believers. Find out more at chministries.org/budget.
Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Thank you for joining us, America. We're so glad you're here. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Well, we are in a couple of weeks here on the 21st and 22nd. George Camel and I will be doing Dave Ramsey's Investing Essentials. We're going to go in depth into investing beyond the baby steps. Detailed investing. People have asked many years, what do you do when you get into, get past 101 and you go to 201, 301 in graduate school investing? What do you do? What do the people do that have a $10 million net worth or greater? What do they do? How do they think? And we're going to go into it. And I'm actually going to open my personal playbook, how I analyze a piece of real estate before I buy it, and how I make a decision on an investment, and what are the principles I use. And they're also the principles I've taught you guys. So we'll cover the basics real quick, and then we're going to go into in-depth stuff. And this is an online virtual event. I'm doing it 2 nights. It is 2 different lessons. So you're going to be involved in front of your computer or television or however you're going to do it 2 nights in a row, May 21 and 22. And it's something you asked for a deeper dive. You want to know how I do it, and this is it. So tickets are $249. It's RamseySolutions.com/events. Over 2,000 folks have already signed up. It's a huge event, and we're really, really excited to get to do this for you guys. I was polishing some of the content with the content team this morning and really starting to build out some of the slides and some of the examples. It's stuff I've never taught before in public, so it's very
I think
interesting.
It's extremely valuable. And for the record, I followed this playbook as well, and Stacey and I are going to be very comfortable in our old age, assuming that she allows me to make it that far. That part's up to me.
There you go. All right, Jessica is in Madison, Wisconsin. Hi, Jessica. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So I am a divorced mom of 2 teenagers. And I've been following your program actually since 2007, so I don't have any debt, no mortgage. I have a large savings and investments. I currently own a home worth about $600,000, and my boyfriend of 2 years recently just moved in January, and things have been going fantastic. However, we are looking at purchasing a home. And we're just trying to figure out how to navigate that. So, because I don't have debt.
What's wrong with the house you're in?
It's 5,500 square feet, and I'm looking at a 900 square foot home right now.
900?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's like a weight lifted off my shoulders thinking about that. So
wow.
I'm anxious just to have something that's, he and I, and smaller and manageable.
Mm-hmm. Where are your kids going to live?
Currently, they live between my ex-husband and I. They're 13 and 16.
Mm-hmm. And you're going to put 2 teenagers in a 900 square foot house after they're used to living in a 5,500 square foot house?
Yes. So the 900 square foot house is going to have a small addition on it. It currently has 2 bedrooms and 1 bath. We would do an addition of 1 master bedroom and another bathroom.
Oh, so it won't be 900 feet anymore?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And what will that cost? All in?
So the home right now is about $200,000, and it's about $250,000 for renovations.
Okay. Okay, I'm okay if you want to do this. If I were your older brother and you called me and said, should I do this? I'm okay with you doing it. There's absolutely zero need for your boyfriend to be involved, legally or financially. If he wants to be involved legally or financially, he needs to be a husband.
Yes, and that is something we are talking about.
Well, then do that first. Let's get stuff in the right order. Don't buy a house with somebody and put your name on a deed with somebody you're not married to. That is a freaking nightmare.
Yeah, that's not the plan. That's not the intention. It would be under my name. But that's what I'm wondering. How do we navigate the financial piece of bills, of taxes, of renovation, those kinds of things?
You're going to own it, and you're going to pay for it all. And it's going to be your house. And then if he leaves, it's not a problem at all. Unless he's your husband.
Okay.
You do this deal because it's a good deal for you. He moved in 3 weeks ago. He does not get to own the house.
He moved in January.
I know, but 20 seconds ago, right? It's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to charge your boyfriend rent? You think that's good?
Well, no, I'm not thinking rent.
Well,
No,
I
you're
mean,
asking how he's going to get in.
Yeah.
He doesn't need his hands on any of this, and you don't need any of his money. You've got plenty of money. You sell a 600,000 square foot house, you end up in a 400,000 square foot house. I mean, $600,000 house, you end up in a $400,000 house. You can do this if he's not there. And you need to do this by yourself, or you need to be married, one or the two. Because here's what happens. You split up. Now you got to tear all this apart. And guess what? You're going to end up selling this house and moving again just to get the mess cleaned up because you formed a partnership legally. It's a disaster.
So that's not really any of my question. My plan
I thought
is...
you asked how to navigate doing this with your boyfriend. I just told you don't.
No, I'm sorry. So not doing it with him on the deed or anything like that, but him living with me essentially in that home.
Yeah, and you asked how does he pay his expenses?
I'm sorry. So what is it you want to know about him living in the home? We must be missing something.
So do we split monthly expenses? How? What does that look like? What is your suggestion with that?
That's completely up to you guys. Whatever you guys want to work out. You're roommates.
Okay.
So that's why it's much better to be married. Then you don't have to fight over the dadgum who used the mustard.
Okay.
You just fight over who left the refrigerator door open, but not who uses the mustard, right? So.
Right.
Yeah, whose mustard is that anyway? That's what happened in college with your roommate.
It just doesn't make
How
sense.
does it change
Don't do
when
it.
we do get married?
When you do get married, it's all one.
Yeah.
We all own. It's yours. There is no yours and mine. It's ours. But until you're married, you have a roommate.
Okay.
And that's why it's not recommended, because it's very difficult to navigate emotionally, relationally, and everything else. The number of couples that far exceed the couples that are married financially, the data tells us, the actual research tells us, the couples that are married far exceed in their wealth building and their careers the couples that are shacking up. Mm-hmm. The numbers are undeniable. There's no question about it. And yet, today in America, more people live together that aren't married than are. So there's more shack-ups than marriages in America today. And yet, the data is crystal clear that those of us that are married, we have what's called, the statisticians call it the marriage advantage, in that we outpace in our incomes and we outpace in our wealth building those that aren't married and shack up. And so there's just no reason to do this. I mean, either get married or don't, paint or get off the ladder.
That's
you know,
right.
But if you're going to do it, you just got to figure out the terms of being a roommate. But please, God, don't put him on the deed, and don't let him put $100,000 into this deal to get this master bedroom added on and all that crap. Then you got to figure out how to give him his money back when he decides he likes somebody else, or, it's a painful mess. And so, yeah.
I just think charging your boyfriend for utilities and rent just is a recipe for tension. We know that money issues are the greatest cause of tension within married couples. My goodness, I just don't know why you do it. I think you need a little bit of patience. You're a mature woman who's in good financial stead. I just don't know why you'd even take this on. I think it's creating unnecessary relationship risk. That's what I think.
Yeah. But anyway, you do whatever you want to do, hon. But number one rule is don't buy houses with people you're not married to. You're saying you're not going to do that. That's good. Number two rule is it's very difficult to navigate through what you're talking about as far as who pays for what inside of these things. People have all kinds of different models, and some of them are more successful at it than others. And then number three, the marriage advantage in the statistics is something to seriously consider. And so we always are big fans of marriage around here, because it's what's good for you, and we love you guys. We want you to win. It's so simple. This is the Ramsey Show. Your home is probably the biggest purchase you'll ever make. And with the real estate market like it is now, you'll need a mortgage company you can trust. That's Churchill Mortgage. You guys, buying a home is not a button push. It's a process. It takes building a relationship with an expert who will dig into the details and give you peace of mind without busting your budget. Churchill is one of the highest rated lenders in the country, and they're Ramsey trusted because they do what's right for you. Go to churchillmortgage.com to get started. Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. In the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage, Mark and Kelly are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Hey, guys.
Good.
Good. Where do you guys live?
Fort Collins, Colorado.
Oh, fun. Very cool. Well, welcome to Nashville. All right, and how much debt have you guys paid off?
$305,000 in 84 months.
Wow, very good. And your range of income during that time?
About 145 to 300.
Okay, cool. Good for you. What do you guys do for a living?
Well, I was a general contractor and just switched careers to a business consultant.
Mm-hmm.
And I am an environmental scientist with a large environmental consulting company.
Wow, very cool. And what kind of debt was the $305,000 for 7 years?
It was our mortgage.
Look at them weird people!
We've been waiting a long time for you guys to call us that.
That's right.
I like it. How old are you weirdos?
47.
And you have a paid-for house in Fort Collins, Colorado.
We do.
That is worth what?
$675.
I love it. And how much in your nest egg and your 401ks and stuff?
About $750.
Ah, look at you, baby steps millionaires.
Yeah.
Way to go, man. It's so weird to say, isn't it?
It feels incredible.
You don't look like a millionaire. You don't feel like a millionaire, but you're a millionaire.
That's
Way
right.
to go, man.
That's right.
Way to go.
It's
That's so
surreal.
cool. Good for you. Good for you. So 7 years you've been working on paying off your mortgage. Tell us the whole story. How'd you get engaged in this Ramsey stuff?
Dave, Ken, 2010, I hit a low point. I was recently divorced. I was a single dad of a 2-year-old, renting a small condo, and I took my daughter to this neighborhood park with these cute houses around it, and there was a real estate sign for one of them. One of them was for sale. I read the sign, looked at the price, and it just hit me that with all my debt, I think I was about $70,000 in debt, I am never going to afford this. And I just felt so terrible about myself at that moment. I went home, felt sorry for myself for a few days, and decided a few days later, before I even heard of you guys, I was never going to borrow money again. I was done with debt. I was going to pay it all off and do it a different way. About 3 months later, my church is doing FPU. I didn't want to pay the $100 because I was so focused on paying off my debt. And the facilitator scholarshiped me in and just made me promise that I would help facilitate a future class. So when I got in the class, I was just ready to go.
Wow.
I was primed.
You were already going.
Everything you guys were saying, I was just ready for
All
it.
we did is tune up this engine that was already going.
That's right. That's right. So I was single at the time, and then I met this wonderful woman. We got married, and then...
Yeah, it didn't take much for me to get on board. I always thought I was good with money because I had a good credit score and I paid all my bills on time. But it wasn't until he kind of introduced me to the baby steps and, all the Dave Ramsey material that I was like, oh, wait, here's a path to do more. I had never even dreamed that, you could have a paid-off house at our age. That wasn't even in my mind. I thought if you paid your bills on time and had a few $1,000s in savings, you were, living the dream,
I'm struck by how many months, this is a sizable payoff too, but you guys stayed with it. I'm curious for folks listening and watching, what did you learn about this process of discipline over that length of time?
7 years.
Well, we learned that together we can do anything. In those 7 years, we had cash flowed IVF. We cash flowed some house renovations after we paid off our consumer debt. We paid that $40,000 off in the first year. And then we bought a really nice car. And when we bought that car with cash and we had this thing, that's the moment that I knew we can do anything.
Yeah.
And we set this goal and said, we're going to go after it.
Oh, is that the picture of the Dodge Ram that we just saw on YouTube?
That's the new one.
That's the new one.
Oh, that's what you just got?
We just got that this weekend.
So that's how you celebrate it?
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, that's brand new.
Yeah. Brand new to us.
Oh, no, it's not new?
No.
Oh, you're millionaires, and you can get one if you want.
We're still cheap. Come on.
Very gently used.
We're easing into the,
That's a great way to celebrate paying off your house. Buy a truck.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Dodge Ram appreciates the free commercial. Yeah.
That's right. But
I
would like to back up and just say, when we first got married, we paid off the $40K, and then we were newlyweds, and we wanted to expand our family, and it wasn't happening. 2.5 years later, we were like, okay, maybe we're not going to have a family. But then we decided to do IVF, and because we had been diligent with our finances and we had paid off all of that consumer debt, we had the cash saved up to do it. And it was such a blessing to not have to decide between expanding our family and paying off debt. It just felt like once we committed and we took all the right steps, the blessings abounded. We were generous through the whole 7 years, and things just fell into place when we were doing the right steps and we were, taking it seriously. Things worked out every time.
They flipped the picture on and then back off. How many people in the family now? How many kids?
5.
5?
I'm sorry. 3.
5 of us.
Yeah, 3 kids, 5 of us in the family.
And yours from before is one of them.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Our middle is his daughter, and then we have a 19-year-old daughter we were blessed with through foster care, and we have our 6-year-old son that we had together. I
love it. Okay, I'm catching on. Okay, now I see it. All right. Wow, way to go, guys.
Yeah.
So I think this is an important thing to just stop and say, if you're out there listening and you're sitting in a park with your 2-year-old looking at a house you can't afford across the street that just went up for sale. That was 2010. This is 15 years later. You're worth $1.5 million and 100% debt-free, happily married, kids everywhere. So that hopeless person sitting there after a divorce beating themselves up, 15 years from now, you could be these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a complete story right here. This is a full story arc from the bottom up.
Can I add just a little bit to it?
Yeah.
So I'm coming from an immigrant family. I was born in Russia. We came to the United States in 1981. And I might get a little sappy. I'm not a crier, but I might cry up here. Guys, my family worked so hard, coming to this country with absolutely nothing. And all they wanted for us was, for us kids to have a better life. And I had messed that up so bad, and realized that in 2010. So to be here on the other side of all that, and, my dad died young. He ended up developing mental illness. Sorry, guys. And, just to tell my parents and my dad in heaven, that we did this. And thank you so, so much for all the sacrifices that you guys did for us. And we just hope we've made you proud.
You have. Yeah. You're heroes, man.
Yeah.
You did it. We're so proud of you. Well done. Well done. Well
Thank
done.
you.
Who were your biggest cheerleaders?
Well,
each other.
And you financial peace classes, because you must have gone back and coordinated, right?
And we facilitated some. We did the legacy journey.
We facilitated legacy journey.
Yeah.
Yep. And then but back to what he was saying, my family is also an immigrant family. My grandparents came in from Denmark. They had 7 kids. They didn't speak English. They lived in a church. And so it's like a legacy, right? The sacrifices that our grandparents and parents made, I feel like they're our cheerleaders.
Amen.
They set the platform for us to have this opportunity.
Amen. Wow. Amen. Well done. Well done. Well said. Well, I just think your story is fabulous because you painted the picture with such bright color where we could feel ourselves sitting with you in that park looking at that house you can't afford and getting disgusted with yourself. I've done the exact same thing, get disgusted with myself, and that's right before crap changes. I'll just tell you, man. You get sick and tired of being sick and tired, that's when it changes. That's when you transform. It's not when you figure the math out. It's when you get mad.
That's right.
A righteous anger at the situation, and that just changes everything. And until then, you're just wandering along, another broke person in America that looks like they're not broke.
Right.
And you straighten it up, man. I'm so proud of y'all.
Thank you.
Well done. Very well done. Mark and Kelly, Fort Collins, Colorado. $305,000 paid off on their $600,000 paid for house. And, They're baby steps millionaires in the process. What a great story. You guys are inspiring. Very well done. $305,000 paid off in 84 months, making $145 to $300. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1.
We're debt-free! Yeah! That's how you do that. Woo! I love it. This is The Ramsey Show. Hey guys, Ramsey Solutions started small and grew fast. Because of that rapid growth, there were times when our systems slowed us down. That's why we switched to NetSuite. It works for us and it'll help your business too. Whether you're starting on a card table like I did, or you're well on your way to becoming a multi-million-dollar company, NetSuite can scale with you and help you communicate and plan better. Because you know your day-to-day up and down and sideways, but accounting, analytics, and supply chain are on another level. So maybe you're just not tech savvy. That can be okay. NetSuite will help at your speed and whatever your situation. More than 37,000 companies use NetSuite to know their numbers and their business better. So check out NetSuite today and find out how they can help you become the business you want to be 5 or 30 years from now. And right now, you can download NetSuite's free KPI checklist designed to give you consistently excellent performance at netsuite.com/Ramsey. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey. Ken Coleman, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author of the book Paycheck to Purpose, is my co-host today. Michael's in Atlanta. Hi, Michael. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
How you doing, Mr. Ramsey?
Better than I deserve, sir. How can I help?
So I just want to say I appreciate everything you do for everybody. I grew up in an awesome family, awesome life and everything, and my two financial advisors were Clark Howard and Dave Ramsey. So I'm honored to be able to finally get her into a phase of life where I can make this phone call and be able to talk to you. So I thank you for that.
Well, thank you. We're honored to have you. How can we help?
I'll just start off by saying that I'm sorry, say it again.
I said we're honored to have you. How can we help?
Yes, sir. So I'm 27 years old, and I work for my family business. My second job is an ice business, and the owner is wanting to sell within the next 2 years or so. The sale will come with the building, with existing tenants, and the ice company itself. He's asking for $1 million. As a married 27-year-old renting from my parents with no meaningful form of assets besides vehicles and what we have in our savings and investments, what do you think the best way that I can get a loan that big for that size? Me and my wife currently are living at my parents' house. We have no form of debt besides, or thanks to you, no debt. We worked hard to pay off all of our student loans and credit card debt and everything. We do have one car loan right now that we're trying to knock out as quick as possible. But like I said, no form of assets or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm a little bit confused about the part where you listened to me for years, and then you just asked me how you can borrow $1 million.
Right. Exactly.
That's a little bit inconsistent, isn't it? I mean, you kind of know I don't do that, right?
Yes, it is. And with the other previous callers, I was thinking maybe I should change the word from borrow to be able to obtain the business for that price. So I do apologize. Let me back up. What is the best route for somebody in my shoes to be able to obtain the business?
Okay, because you don't have $1 million. No bank's going to loan you this. Okay, like you said, you don't have the assets, you don't have the income. You're not bankable. A banker would just it would take about I don't know, less than 4 or 5 seconds to make the decision. You're not going to get that. So even if we all thought that was a good idea, and we don't. So what I would do is, the first thing I'd do is separate the business from the real estate.
Okay.
Let him keep the real estate.
Good to go.
And the business can be his tenant until you save up the money to buy the real estate later. You could do that out of the business. So what do you think of the $1 million? What do you think the real estate is actually worth market value?
So we haven't dug into the books or anything?
No, I didn't ask you about the books. I asked you about the real estate. What's the real estate worth, the building?
Approximately $750,000.
Okay, so you're wanting to buy an ice business for $250,000.
Sounds right to me.
Okay, so it should be making a profit after everyone is paid, including the manager of the business. After everyone's paid market wages, that business should be making a profit of $60,000 or $70,000 a year. Is it?
$60K.
You haven't gotten into the books yet.
The exact profit.
You haven't gotten into the books yet. You don't know.
Correct. This is something that I want to try to figure out a route before, to see if it was even attainable before
Michael,
I dug into the books.
Let me ask a real quick question, okay?
Yes, sir.
If you weren't working for this owner and they had not approached you about selling, they want to exit, would you be wanting to get into the ice business if you weren't currently working for them and this wasn't an opportunity?
I believe so.
Okay. That's
so, like,
part of the
if you weren't working there anymore, a year from now, you would be going, I got to figure out a way to get in the ice business.
I believe so. I think it's very lucrative, and I see a lot of opportunities in the ice world itself. Okay. So I'm glad I was introduced to it very young.
Yeah.
And I think my answer would still be yes.
That's not your family, though. Your family's a different business.
Correct.
Okay. I want to make sure I got that straight. Okay. All right. Now, here's what I would tell my son if he was your age and came in and sat down at my kitchen table. I would say you need a stronger personal financial foundation before you start talking about buying and running a small business. Buying and running a small business will take the bone marrow out of you. It will drain you. It'll squeeze you like yesterday's dish rag, man. Because it becomes a mistress if you're not real careful. Because you have to put everything, all your emotions, all your intellect, everything into it, and you got a car payment and live with your mama. So you're not ready to do that. Mm-hmm. So you guys need to get out on your own and be debt-free and have a solid foundation in your life before you start talking about buying business. This is what I would tell my own son.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And can I ask you a question correlating to that?
Sure.
I see this opportunity, and I could see this opportunity as a long-term investment, a great thing, and just long-term down the road and everything. I'm not wanting to pass up on this opportunity as it comes to me right now. And in my brain, you could tell me if I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
And I know you won't.
I just told you were wrong. I just told you not to do it. Pass up on it. Pass it. Let it go. Let it go. Get in the ice business later when you get your freaking act together. You don't have your act together yet. About all you're good at so far is talking yourself into this.
Yeah, it's not an opportunity. It's a trap.
Yeah.
With your current environment, Michael.
You don't have any money. You have a car payment and you live with your parents. I'm telling you, man, you really got to get out. You got to get out and get on solid ground to have a chance of making it in business. Business is hard. It's hard. And you don't do it from your daddy's basement. It's hard, and you don't do it with a car payment. You need to get a solid foundation. And I don't think we can stop you. You got your foot on the pedal. You're heading off the cliff. Nobody sign bridge out. I don't care. I don't want to miss a chance. I'm taking the jump.
It's a chance to go swimming, Dave.
That's it, man.
That's the metaphor there.
We can't stop you. So have at it, son, but I wouldn't do it. I'm telling you, I wouldn't do it. I think you're going to have plenty of times in your life to get into business and do it from strength, not from weakness.
Yes.
And you need to build some strength to do that. That's what it doesn't affect me, honey. If you want to do it, you go do it. But you ask what we would do, and we love you, and we want you to win. I told you exactly what I tell my own son, who I want to have a great life and prosper, just like I want that for you. So you do what you want, but I don't think you're in a position to do this right now, and I would not do it. I'm not a dream killer, but I love stepping all over nightmares. I love kicking a nightmare out the door.
Yeah.
So,
Here's a quick message and this, listen, we've all been your age and bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, excited about what looks like an opportunity. And this is a situation, Michael, if you were to jump into this in your current environment, you wouldn't even be able to be fully focused. Like Dave said, you need to be on a small business because of this financial stress. You're not in a position where this thing can take care of you. Yeah. And I didn't hear enough evidence either, and this is a positive. I'm not piling on here. I didn't hear enough evidence that he understood the business.
Oh, he doesn't yet.
And that he could truly grow the business in order to say, I could actually run the business. I'd like him to prove to the current owner that he, through his efforts, Michael, we're talking about, can grow the business.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
it's scary
I would sit down and talk to the current owner. If you want to do this, Michael, here's a way to salvage the idea, I guess, and say, put me in leadership role for the next 2 years.
That's where
I can get out and I can get my personal finances and straightened out, and then I want to talk to you. I'll take an option to buy. And then I'll talk to you about exercising that option, but I'm not bound to it, not contractually.
Love that conversation.
And you can be sitting there, learn the business inside and out. You may learn, you will learn a lot more about it than you know now, and you may learn the actual valuation is off.
Yeah, and that's such good advice. I hope everybody's listening to that, because that actually creates an opportunity. Doesn't mean it's a good opportunity, but right now what you have is not an opportunity. If you go the Dave route there, now all of a sudden it becomes an opportunity, and then have the option to choose to take the opportunity. And that's what I like about that. There might be some sweat equity in that plan too, if he helps grow the business.
The best business deals I have ever done in my life are the ones I passed on.
Yeah, that's so true. That's good.
They're the best ones.
Yeah.
This is The Ramsey Show. Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Ken Coleman, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author of the book Paycheck to Purpose, is my co-host today. You jump in, we'll talk about your life and your money at 888-825-5225. Jaya is with us in Boise, Idaho. Hi, Jaya. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
Well, thank you so much for taking my call. So the short summary of it is that I grew up with not a lot of money. Money was really tight. And now that I'm an adult, I'm making more. I'm able to save for retirement. I'm meeting a lot of savings goals. And I feel responsible to pay that back to my parents, and specifically my mom. She has very little in savings, and she's approaching her 60s. I think she's going to work through retirement. But if anything comes up with her, like medically or anything, she's not going to have any sort of fund to help support her in that. So I feel kind of responsible for that. So I'm wondering what your opinion is on that.
Well, my opinion is that you're not responsible, but you're allowed to have that feeling. It means you're a sweet person. It means you love your mom. But morally, ethically, legally, you're not responsible. My children aren't responsible to take care of me. I'm responsible to take care of me. I'm 60.
Okay.
I'm 63. It's my job to pay my bills. And I don't want my children, I don't want to be a burden to my kids.
Okay. So if I did want to...
If you want to help out of the goodness of your heart, that's different than being responsible.
Yeah. So where would that fall in the baby steps? Because right now I'm saving up my emergency fund. By the end of the year, I'll have enough. And then, I'm still in my 20s. I'm going to be saving up for a house payment, eventually a new car, all that kind of stuff. So I'm still kind of working my way through building my own life. So
what's the amount of money that you think you need to contribute to help her, or that you want to contribute? What's that number?
So I was kind of looking at it over the next 10 years or so. If I save like $100 every paycheck or so, save it in like a high yield savings account, I was looking at about 20 grand by the time she's like older age. And if she needs the money, it's there as a cushion.
So that's how many years from now?
Like 10 to 15 years from now, right. Just as like a backup.
So you don't need to do a thing except walk the baby steps. Okay, because that'll cause you to build wealth, and you'll have an extra 20 grand. You can just reach into one of your accounts and pull it out. The way you get ready to help someone else is you build wealth.
Okay.
You don't have to have a mom fund on the side. You just go become wealthy. And the shortest way to do that is walk the baby steps. So you're how old today?
I am 28.
28, okay. And what was it you said you do for a living?
I work in tech.
Okay, and what do you make?
Make about $100K.
Good for you. Well done. Okay. Be a great high-tech 28-year-old, and therefore I want you to be a millionaire when you're 38.
Okay.
So that just means you're going to manage all the way through these baby steps clearly and carefully and in detail the way we teach you. We'll help you do that. That's what we do. And then when you're sitting on that, if you want to take 20,000 of your million and help your mom, well, that's a very nice thing to do. That is different than I am responsible for my mother and I am a horrible person if I don't write her a check because she was good to me when times were tough. When you're good to your kids when times are tough, because that's what parents do. It's not because we expect a payback.
Okay.
So,
I do feel like a sense of responsibility. I do get some messaging from her of her, like, kids are expensive and she wishes her life like she didn't have kids.
That's her
just
problem.
Kind of stuff like that.
You didn't cause any of this.
Okay.
You didn't choose to be born. She chose for you to be born. That's on her. So she doesn't get to play that card. I'm sorry. Her whining does not transform you to ethically become responsible for her. Follow me?
Yes, I do.
Does that sound mean? See, the difference here is just love, okay? Even when you're acting in the goodness of your heart with an open hand out of love, that's true ministry. That's true charity. When someone's guilt tripping you, and they're a travel agent for guilt trips, and they make you think you have a moral or ethical responsibility that you don't have because they somehow feel entitled or they have assumed the position of victim, that's way different than generosity. And I want you in the generous camp, not the obligated to something you're not obligated to camp, but go make you a whole bunch of money and then you can decide what you want to be.
Yeah, I really like that advice, like kind of just follow the baby steps, build my own wealth, and then eventually pull from that instead of doing something separate for her.
Yeah. I mean,
I think that's really good advice.
If I live in a community and I know there's a child on the other side of the community that's hungry, it's a wonderful thing for me to help them. It's a wonderful thing for me to, as a person who's built some wealth, to feel a sense of responsibility to make sure that child gets some food. Okay, but that is still an act of generosity, an act of charity versus the government coming along pointing a gun at my face and says, we're going to raise your taxes so we can take $100 from you in order to spend $100 of your money to buy $10 worth of food because we're the government and we're idiots. That's what taxes are. That's far from charity. It's inefficient generosity where you stole someone else's money to do good with it. And it's a whole different mindset. It's a whole different thing. One's compulsion and one is volunteer. And your character is built when you're volunteering. Your character is not built when you're doing something as an act of compulsion. You are becoming a better person when you are generous, not out of compulsion, but out of capacity.
Yeah, Jay, here's what happens. The weird irony here is if you receive that responsibility from your mom, and I don't think she's healthy, and I don't think she's trying to manipulate you, but it comes across that way. And if you receive that responsibility from her, what's going to happen is you're going to end up resenting her.
Yeah.
And so the heart that you have as a daughter is, I want to be in a position to help mom if she needs it. And Dave has given you, and you've received it. You totally got it, which is awesome. But the alternative here is you start to resent the very person you want to help. And you don't want that.
I'll tell you the other thing that goes in this whole discussion that with our Christian brothers and sisters out there, some of them are oversaved, and they get confused about honor your father and mother. Honor your father and mother does not mean you're going to give them money regardless of their ridiculous behavior. That is not honoring. If your dad's doing cocaine, you don't honor him by giving him the money for it. That's not honoring. You don't honor someone by helping them with their misbehavior. That's not honoring. We honor the position of mom. We honor the position of father, not of every stinking behavior that the human being engages in. This is The Ramsey Show. If you're like most people, your home is your most valuable asset. And when you want to make improvements, it can feel like everything costs too much or takes too long. But something as simple as custom window coverings from Blinds.com can completely change your space and add value to your home. We've recommended Blinds.com for over a decade, so you know you can trust them. From blinds, drapes, and shutters to motorized shades, they make it easy and affordable to upgrade your entire home, and their team is ready to help with everything from design consultation to measuring and installation. Plus, there are never any misleading quotes or hidden fees. Everything's backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee, and shipping is always free. See why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Visit Blinds.com to get up to 45% off. That's Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply. Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Hey, your brand new book, Find the Work You Love. The Get Clear Assessment, Find the Work You're Wired to Do, is coming out in May, early May, and we've got it on pre-sale right now. It comes with the Get Clear assessment, which just under 100,000 folks have already taken at RamseySolutions.com and gone to the store and taken it. And the assessment, the book is how to read your assessment results, and it comes with a code for you to take the assessment, right?
It's absolutely right. So the assessment is really a self-awareness test to let you see, this is what I do really well. We're talking about the world of work. This is what I enjoy doing. And then this is what motivates me. And if you put those three together, and we do it for you with very detailed results in a purpose statement that you can think of as essentially the ultimate job description for yourself. And then the book meets you there and says, all right, how do I go about getting there? Now that I know who I am and what I want to do, how do I get there? So it's a great companion. Great graduation gift, by the way. We have over 52%, just a shy over 52% of college grads, Dave, are not working in the field that they studied. And so this is a great graduation gift as we see a lot of kids moving from college into the real world. And we have high schoolers that have taken it as well. And again, a great awareness tool as they begin to think about what their future direction looks like. And I know for many parents, that's the biggest weight they feel at this age and stage of parenting. Is my kid going to make it and find their way?
And that's true if you're 52.
Well, that's true too. That's right.
Knowing what you're wired to do, it sets you free.
Yeah, it does.
And it gives you, it raises your energy level to go do it.
Yeah, and your income potential.
Yep.
You know, so it's a fun little tool, and now the book comes along, and it's like me coaching people with their results so they can choose their professional direction.
Yeah. So if you this is your last week to pre-order because it comes out next week. The Get Clear assessment, Find the Work You're Wired to Do. When you pre-order it, we're also going to give you the audiobook and the ebook, and each one of those come with a code for an assessment. So you're going to have a total of 3 codes for the assessment, so you'll be able to give one to a spouse or to a friend, or maybe you've got 2 kids. I don't know, whatever it is. And it's a great way for you to get the access to this material and get all the coaching direct from Ken. And so people are buying it like crazy as grad gifts, but they're also buying it just because they want to know, why am I on this stinking planet? Why'd you put me here, Lord? What are we doing? RamseySolutions.com/store, and you can get all of those items if you order it this week. So be sure and do that. Caleb is with us. Caleb's in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Hi, Caleb. How are you?
Hey, Dave, if I was a dog, I'd be wagging my tail. Thank you so much for having me on here.
You're welcome. How can we help?
Yeah, so I'm calling in. I was introduced to you by my manager, who's mentoring me, and really got excited. I mean, I dove, head fast and tore through the Total Money Makeover. Got super excited to pay off our debt, and I'm married as well, and, when I started bringing this to my wife, kind of hard moving through some of these conversations.
Did you turn my name into a cuss word in your house?
I'm doing my best not to, Dave. Doing my best not to. So I'm looking at the book right now where she set it down. So she has been, kind of perusing through it, and my biggest thing is I just want to, it's been about a month and a half since I finished the book, and I know I can't do this by myself. Well, we're a team, and we have to both be fully on board. But I don't want to keep waiting to be making right decisions. So I've done things like I have the EveryDollar app, and I've been trying to budget. But, without it really being like a 2-person effort on this, it's, I just want to know, like, dare I say, the baby steps to try to get to the actual baby steps.
Where is she challenged the most? Where's the greatest objection? Because that's a good place to start. What do you see? What are you hearing?
Yeah, so we've had some conversations. One thing is, my excitement for it. When I get excited about something, I get very passionate, and I can get kind of overwhelming. I do know that about myself.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, so you did turn my name into a cuss word. Okay, all right. She's already sick of Dave Ramsey. Okay, all right. You got some on your shoe, man. I'm just saying. Okay.
So, and then when I get excited and I want to talk about these things, such as like, hey, let's just stop using credit cards, and hey, let's sit down and actually do a budget every single, talk about this every week so we can stay on top of this. And I'm trying to bring in the things that.
Are you 27?
The reasons. I'm 26.
Ah, okay. Almost like I've done this before.
Almost.
Okay. How long y'all been married? 5 years or 6?
3. Coming up on 3 here.
Okay, good. All right. Because this is the same exact stuff I used to do, so it's easy for me, all right? Mm-hmm. So here's what I learned the hard way, because I'm wired just like you. I'm way super excitable. I get fired up about stuff. I go down a rabbit hole, and you can't even find me. I got lost down there. And so game on, pedal to the metal. Let's do it. What are we waiting on? Mm-hmm. I mean, why can't you figure this out? It's smart. I figured it out. Let's go. And none of that, of course, works. So and that's what you're finding. So what I want you to do is stop talking about what to do. We need to do a budget. That's a what to do. We need to cut up the credit cards and stop using them. That's a what to do. What I want you to talk about is why. Why is it you want to do this? So that we can build some wealth and have some peace and be on the same team as a married couple. And if the number one cause of divorce and arguments in marriage is about money, if we could get rid of the number one problem in marriage, it has to make our marriage better. That's why I want to do this. I want to do this so we can become wealthy and go on a vacation anywhere we want to go, anytime we want to go. I want to become wealthy so we can be outrageously generous when we see a need in the marketplace, a ministry that we can support or start. I want us to be wealthy so that our kids can go to school and have no student loan debt. I want to talk about why and get her involved in why you got excited. Nobody gets excited about doing a budget. The only reason we do a budget is because it's the shortest path to get there. The only reason we stop using the credit cards is it's the shortest path to get there. But nobody enjoys the exercise. Well, a few of you sick people do. We just enjoy being a little bit thinner. Okay?
I'm one of those sick people that enjoys the exercise.
Yeah, okay. But you see what I'm talking about. But I mean, the idea being you need to sit down with her and quit talking to her about what we've got to do and ask her what would be her favorite thing about being wealthy. Mm-hmm. And what would we have to do to get there then? And how's it going to feel when we live in a paid-for house and have no bills anywhere? That's what I get excited about, honey. And then you got a reason for you being excited rather than just, slapping her upside the head with a book.
Yeah, and that's what I've been really trying not to do.
You did, though. Yeah, you did.
I did.
Yeah,
I
you completely did. And you probably start this conversation with an apology for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
And I'm going to add, just because you gave us a hint, this is a pattern for you. And she thinks this might be the next new shiny thing. And she thinks it's another fad. And
she thinks if she's quiet long enough, you're going to get over it.
Yeah, but I think you got to show her the facts and go, this is a lifestyle, and Dave gave you a master class on how to get buy-in. I don't think she's resistant as much as she's just kind of like, whoa, take it easy, man. I can't breathe.
Down, boy, down. Down, boy, down.
Yeah.
Like a freaking Labrador Retriever, man.
Yeah.
It's just like, love them. They're just awesome. They're enthusiastic, man. Wow. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
This is The Ramsey Show. Statistics show that half of Americans don't have enough life insurance, or they don't have any at all. I don't understand this, John. Why don't people want to take care of their family? They think they're going to die or something?
Well, I used to be one of those guys. I didn't even think about it. And one of my buddies said, hey, the only reason to not have life insurance is if you hate your wife and kids. And I immediately went and got term life insurance.
That's a gut punch.
And, you're telling me, and for decades, Dave, I've sat across people who've lost a spouse. They've lost somebody important to them.
Me
and
too.
They don't know what to do next.
Me too. I mean, you're going to have a crisis here. And, you got two options while you're sitting and talking to a young widow. She's concerned about how she's going to invest all this money properly and not mess this up, or she's concerned how she's going to eat tomorrow.
That's exactly
These are the
right.
two options.
And
take care of your dadgum family, man.
Term life insurance can replace income, pay off debts, cover funeral expenses, so your family can actually have the opportunity to just be sad.
Yeah.
To just miss you.
That's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's saying I love you to your family. Term life insurance. Jeff Zander and the team at Zander Insurance makes it easy and affordable. I've used them personally for 25 years. They're the only people I trust. Go to Zander.com or call 800-356-4282. Guys, our rankings on all the podcast and YouTube platforms and even in talk radio are through the roof. Thank you to all of you out there who are telling people about the show and following us and listening and downloading and viewing and all that stuff you do. If you want to help us further, we could use the help. We really do need your help. If you click subscribe or follow on the platform that you're consuming this on, It's a big help. It jacks up every one of those algorithms. Thank you very much for that. So subscribe or follow. Also share the show. Some of them have a share button. Sometimes you can just cut and paste the link for the show, drop it into your email, send it to somebody, say, hey, listen to this. That's a big help. Or just tell people about it. You can do that too. That works. Hey, this is where I listen to the show on talk radio. This is where I, watch the show. This is what's going on. Word of mouth is everything. And think about how many times you read a book or watch a movie because some of your friends told you. And that's what drives us forward for sure. So thank you guys for doing that and continuing to do that. Albert is with us in Washington, D.C. Hey, Albert, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thank you, Dave. Pleasure to talk to you, and pleasure to talk to you, Mr. Coleman. My question is job hopping going to bite me in the butt? The reason why I asked is because over the last 5 years, I've pretty much had 5 jobs. That first one I did have for 5 years, but ever since then, it's been 4 jobs in a row of only about a year's worth of time. The money has increased substantially, but I'm just worried this is going to come back and get me.
Yeah. So are you chasing jobs for just money each time because of opportunity? And we saw that during the Great Resignation. So the environment was right for that over the last 2 years. That's changed. So my question is, were you hopping just for the increase, or were you hopping trying to find that thing, find the right environment?
All of these jobs have all been in the same industry, in public utilities, and it's just gone. The increase in pay has come along with an increase in responsibility, learning new things involved in the trade. And so it's just gone from being a meter reader, reading water meters, to doing water treatment, then wastewater treatment, then county utility management, and just on up.
Interesting. So 5 different organizations, or were there any moves within one organization?
There's a couple moves within 1 or 2 organizations. Within that year, I might have moved up from one position to another.
So how many times did that happen? That's relevant to the answer to your question. How many times did you move up within an actual organization of the 5 jobs?
Of the 5, that happened twice.
Okay, so first of all, that's not job hopping. So we can take 2 out of the 5.
That's a promotion.
Yeah, that looks good. That shows somebody that you earned it, or that you were perceived as valuable enough to earn it. So the other 3 are the ones that you start looking at. And if a narrative can develop, it will. So on the surface, 3 jobs in 3 years. We need a narrative and an explanation for that. Now, let's say that one of the 3 you were recruited. Did that happen? Did somebody come after you, or were you actively looking in all 3 of those?
3 of the job changes were for moves. The other 2 were from LinkedIn, and they were recruiting me. And that's why I'm asking. I've got a job opportunity coming up right now, which would another move after I've been at my current place for 14 months. And it was somebody who was recruiting me from LinkedIn. It's effectively going to be about the same title, but about a 40% pay increase.
All right, so let's look at the long term, because short term sounds great. Is this set you up with a really good path forward, or is it just more money?
You know what? It's probably just more money. I think my current position has a path forward as far as moving up, and then so does this job. So here's the deal. If both of them allow you to move up the ladder you want to climb, then it's a no-brainer. And this is not flaky. When someone is recruiting you, that's a very different story than you just being with somebody for a year and going, I'm tired of this place and I'm looking for the next place. If someone's coming after you, that's the nature of the corporate world, and that's not flaky. That makes you look very valuable. Okay. Well, that sounds great. I like the way you put it.
But that has to be true, obviously. And in that situation,
if the hiring manager perceives that the first time someone comes along on LinkedIn and offers you more money, you're going to leave, that's the day you're not hireable anymore.
That's my worry.
Yeah, if you turn into a mercenary, if they perceive you as a mercenary, you're going to go to the highest bidder. Then they don't want to screw with having onboard you, and then you turn around and head back out in 8 months just because somebody else hit you on LinkedIn. So, it's and I don't know how you keep that from happening with what you're describing. So, I think you've got valid explanations, but if the hiring manager perceives that you're going to go to the highest bidder as soon as the next LinkedIn connection happens, then you're done. They're not going to hire you.
Yeah, to that point, in this current situation, have you been in the interview process?
Yes.
And they know your history?
Yes.
Were there any flags? Did they ask you about it?
We did have a discussion about it, and in fact, I may have just made sure that they understood that at my current position in this management role, I only had a year. And they said, that's fine. You have, effectively 10 years in this industry, and that knowledge is valuable to us. So they were fine with
different.
that.
No, that was to develop expertise. That's not stability.
That's right. So
that says to me that you have expertise in the industry. I don't care whether you were. I've only been there a year, but it doesn't matter. You've been in the business, so you know the business. That's what that's saying. That doesn't say you're going to stay.
Yeah. Here's the real answer, Albert. This is a 50-50 deal, Dave, because in today's labor market, we are still at 3.8% unemployment, and a lot of companies are desperate. I don't think we would go about it that way.
I'll guarantee you we wouldn't hire it.
I know. And I think this is one of those 50-50 deals, and I think what I would say is I want you always making moves that are moving me forward on the 15 to 20-year play.
Yeah.
And in that case, it's a calculated risk. But I think this has some risk, and you have to weigh that.
Yeah. It's a good discussion, Albert. And here's the good news. You're the kind of person that asks the question and is worried about it, which makes you the kind of person that can survive this narrative. Mm-hmm. And so they may hire you in that situation. Yeah. But in general, for folks out there, when you jump, Albert's right to ask the question, because when you jump as an employer, if I think you're going to go right back out the door as soon as I get you onboarded, just because somebody hit you up on LinkedIn like I did, like our recruiting team hit you on LinkedIn, you came over here, and then the next thing that comes along, you're going to come along. Then I don't need to fool with all that. I'd rather just I want to hire people that are going to stay.
That's right.
At least hopefully,
it's a blinking yellow light on paper, and then you're going to have to win the conversation and show that you actually are a loyal person, and you just had a string of some opportunities. This is pretty abnormal.
I get this question on our EntreLeadership podcast. I do a podcast once a week for small business people, and I get this question all the time. And one of the things that Ramsey fell into, and this is really it's an aside from Albert, it's not an answer or directed at Albert at all, was that we also used, our recruiters, we used LinkedIn. We'll reach out and try to hire someone. When we are doing that, we've had to learn to be very careful to not attract someone who goes, I mean, it's like I told one of our recruiters, it's like walking down the street and going up and knocking on someone's door that does not have a for sale sign and go, hey, would you sell your house?
That's right.
And they go, well, yeah, for the right dadgum price, I would. And because everybody's heard the story about somebody who paid too much for a house and the guy just sold it. Yeah, okay, I'll take that. And you say, I sold my house. Why'd you sell your house? Got knocked on the door, give me a ridiculous number. Well, it's the same thing if you're out there recruiting on LinkedIn and you pull somebody in. Well, I wasn't looking for a job, but I'll go over there. And then guess what? Then they're going to do it again. Yeah. Then they're going to do it again. So we've had to be careful to not do the knock on the front door of the house routine on LinkedIn in terms of our recruiting, because a couple times we've actually done that and it bit us as employers. It bit us. So because they don't stick, or they've got a horrible attitude because they're just here for the money or whatever, and that's you hire people that work in a job. God, just killing me. So you got to show up and actually care. So, but none of that's directed at you, Albert, but that's just something we learned in recruiting during this great resignation thing.
That's right.
Because we were having to do more outbound recruiting than we've ever done to get the right positions, and some very specialized positions to fill. This is The Ramsey Show. It doesn't take a degree in statistics to realize that this one stinks. 93% of undergraduate private student loans are co-signed. So when you're delinquent and drowning in private student loan debt, mom or dad or Uncle Joe is stuck in that financial stress along with you. But there is a way out. Why Refi? Why Refi offers a custom refinancing option with a fixed rate loan based on your ability to pay. And the average interest rate Why Refi offers is 3.9%, which can significantly reduce your monthly payment and decrease your total cost. Why Refi refinances your defaulted private student loans that other places won't touch. And I trust them to help you get out of debt. So don't be another statistic in the student loan swamp. Contact Why Refi at 844-2-RAMSEY or go to whyrefi.com/Ramsey. That's 844-2-RAMSEY or the letter Y, then REFY.com/Ramsey. Thank you for joining us, America. We're so glad you are with us. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Mike is in Las Vegas. Hey, Mike, what's up?
Hi, Mike. Dave, thank you so much for taking this call from me. I've been in a pretty good, lucrative sales career for a lot of years, and recently lost my job. Performance-based industry, of course, things happen, but I started crunching some numbers, and I've racked up, including my vehicles and credit cards, about $93,000 in debt. I'm paying about $1,200 a month in interest alone. And so I've got this IRA with about $150,000 in it, and I was thinking to myself, cash it out, take the penalty, and wipe all this out and start fresh.
How old are you?
I'm curious if you think that's a good idea or not.
How old are you?
49.
Okay. What were you selling?
I was working for a hospitality company here in Las Vegas.
Okay. In sales?
I was making about $6,000 a week, and so it's just taking a little longer to replace the income.
Mm-hmm. $6,000 a week?
Yeah.
So you were making $300,000?
Yeah.
Okay. And you were not performing, and you were making $6,000 a week?
So I was in a leadership role, and it was a team thing.
I see. Okay. So you weren't actually doing sales?
Part of my job was sales, but mostly leadership, yeah.
Okay. All right. Are you married?
I am a single dad. I have an 8-year-old son, and so, part of the thing is, I don't want to put my son in public school. He's been in private school since he was, in preschool, and so there's some big bills that I'm dealing with.
Yeah. Well, that wouldn't be caused by the debt. That'd be caused by the lack of income.
Yeah. So it's all adding up.
Yeah.
And I've had several months of a nest egg, but I'm getting towards the end of that. So I'm trying to see where I can make some.
So how long have you been unemployed?
It's been in 2 months.
Okay. All right. First, I'll answer your question, but your question is not your problem. It's a symptom of your problem. Your problem is income and job. Your problem is not debt. Right. Your lack of income has shined a light on the stupidity of your debt, but it's not caused the problem. The problem is the income evaporating and not replacing it for 2.5 months. So the answer is no, you don't cash out your 401k for this. You get a job and solve the income side, because if you cash this out, you're going to get hit with, if you make the same kind of money, you're going to get hit with a 10% penalty plus 30% of taxes, so 40%. So it's like saying, hey, Dave, I'm backed against the wall. Should I borrow money at 40% interest and pay off my debt? The answer would obviously be no. You do anything to keep from doing that, because 40%, oh my gosh. You never borrow money at 40% interest. You never borrow money, but never borrow money at 40% interest, ever. So what we got, Ken, is a career crisis. So we got a job crisis. So let's get the guy a job. What do you think?
Yeah, so you've been in leadership. How long were you in leadership prior to actually being in sales, just a sales role?
So I've been in leadership and sales for 5 years, and then before that I was in just selling.
Yeah. How aggressive have you been right now to get back in?
So I've recently taken a job in solar just to see if it's, because it's a booming market here in Las Vegas, but it's going to take some time to build up.
Okay, what does that mean? You straight commission, or you're on a very low salary? I mean, what's?
Yeah, the salary is $20,000 a year, and then it's all commission on top of that.
All right, so that you just took the first thing that kind of came your way, right?
Yes.
All right, so where you stand right now, you're a veteran here. How long is it going to take you to get to a point where you're close to what you were making before in this solar company?
I'm thinking 60 days.
60 days. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's not that far. So, we got to sit here and go, okay, we've got this gap. All right. And so how can we float and survive for 60 days, putting all your effort into winning? Because if you're going to start making the $25,000 a month in 60 days,
you're going to be fine.
I think you're okay. I wouldn't be panicking right now.
Only this time, pay off the debt with the dadgum income.
Yeah.
Don't spend it all again.
I'd get on the phone with his debtors, and I'd start telling them your situation and your reality.
Well, 60 days is not 60 days. 60 days is when he reaches the top.
That's right.
On the way to the top is a bunch of money.
There's some money there. You're right.
And after if it's a straight line, if it's not on a curve, after 30 days, you'd be making 150.
So the reason I asked that question, Mike, is I'm trying to figure out what are we pivoting to or what do we need to do. But it feels like right now you're doing what I would coach anybody with with your kind of experience. Let's go we're not worried about the dream job here. We're not looking at 15 years from now. We're looking for stability. And it looks like you're going to have stability in 30 days, 60 for sure.
I could find, and what, I'm paying $2,700 a month in these payments with $1,260 that are going towards interest.
Right.
And it just, this is terrible.
Well, that didn't bother you when you had a job.
Right.
No, it didn't.
Okay.
Right.
So again, the debt is a problem, and hopefully this is your wake-up call and you clean it up once you get your income back up. But paying it off with 40% interest is not a good idea.
Yeah. And not necessary right now.
No, it's not. You don't have to. It's just you just had a wake-up call and went, this is crazy. I got to fix this. Well, yeah, I'll fix it after you get some income.
And if you're really stressed, you're not going to like this answer, Mike. But if you're really stressed over that $1,200 with your smaller income right now, go work some other job in Vegas. I'm going to tell you right now,
car.
I've been reading articles. Vegas is a hot job market. Sell something, go get an extra job, get 2 extra jobs, and start making money at night and weekends while you're building up your pipeline. Like, you can take control over this, and I think you're looking for the easy out. And what we're telling you is, while it's easy, it's going to hurt a lot, and you're chopping yourself off with the shins. It's just dumb.
It's short-term thinking. That's right. Don't do it. It's a bad long-term play and a great short-term play. But yeah, I wouldn't. No. Open phones at 888-825-5225. You jump in. We'll talk about your life and your money. Ken, let's talk about the job market for a second.
Yeah.
The job market in general it went through the whole great resignation and then the great regret. I wished I hadn't left the good job, for a few more bucks here and there. And then that has now settled out.
Yes.
And we're kind of back into more of a normal rhythm, but we have almost no unemployment.
That's right. So we're still at a place where the job market's hot in the sense of opportunity. What's not happening is companies aren't overpaying for people and creating the musical chairs that existed. So now companies are slowing down in a normal hiring process. They're not panicking. A lot of companies waiting to see what happens in this election year. We are already, by definition, in a stagflation environment. We saw in the first quarter the GDP reduced, and we're seeing inflation increase. So a lot of companies are sitting back and watching. However, of the jobs that are available, it's still in the workers' favor, Dave. We're again, about 1.5 jobs available for every person who is actively saying, I'm unemployed and I'm looking. This does not account for millions of people who are just saying, I'm out and I'm not interested in working. So, favorable job market. But the days of skipping around like our previous caller this hour and getting a 12 to 20% bump, those days have cooled dramatically. So now it's companies are looking for loyalty. And as a worker, you should be looking for stability in a company that says they've got a long-term play and an opportunity for me to grow, because that we'll never get back to what we experienced 2 years ago. You're just not going to see that in the job market where people were just leaving and leaving and leaving and getting bumps and bumps and bumps. Yeah. It's not going to happen. Companies learn their lesson on that. So short version, still a very favorable job market. Let me tell you one part of the economy, and this hits all of our audience. If you want to make more money to get through the baby steps faster, the gig economy is absolutely blowing up. Freelance work, nights and weekends with those skills you have, it's out there. Go get it. Get you some more money.
Get you some. This is The Ramsey Show. Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Ken Coleman, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author of the book Paycheck to Purpose, is my co-host today. Thank you for joining us. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Thanks for jumping in. We're glad you're here. Michael is in New York City. Hey, Michael, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave, how are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
How's it going? So I don't know if I gave you the question that I had asked yet, but I'm a big fan of your show, and I just wanted to see if I could take any wisdom for you and help myself kind of dig out of this little hole that I'm in.
Okay, what's up?
So a long story short is it started with a house, a foreclosure. I was 23 years old. I made a stupid decision to borrow on my parents' mortgage. Didn't know any better at the time. And 4 years later, which was this summer, I got a call the house was in foreclosure and over $200,000 in the negative. And in the blink of an eye, it was either have a foreclosure on my record or assume that property and take something that was well above me and my soon-to-be wife's means. And we're just trying to figure it out and make all our payments and make the best of a bad situation. In addition to some credit card fraud, which I have most of that resolved. But
you have most of that resolved?
Yeah, I submitted fraud claims. I had all the proof that they were not my cards. I'm battling on one, but the two larger ones are taken care of.
Okay, but the house you did actually sign. It's not fraud, and
yeah, no, that part.
And now you have it. So, what is the house worth?
We inherited it for $750, and it's probably worth like $700. So
what's owed on it?
$750.
So you owe more on it than it's worth.
Correct. And the mortgage, we had a nice one-bedroom apartment, living very comfortable.
No, I mean, how in the world does a house have more owed on it than it's worth in our current world?
Well, when the people who were living in it didn't pay it for 4 years, I found that all out the hard way, and it added up very quickly.
Okay. And so you're 4 years behind. How are you catching that up?
They did a loan modification to where they lumped anything that wasn't paid for, plus the original balance at signing. So that was how it worked. Typically, from my understanding, the loan modifications are supposed to be a little bit cheaper than the original for monthly payments, but due to the fact that it was so far behind, it actually increased the mortgage.
So what is your monthly payment?
$6,400.
And what's your household income?
A little over $160.
Okay. How old are you now?
29.
Wow.
And we had a nice apartment.
Doesn't matter. It's gone.
Yeah. It's
I mean,
gone.
did you own it?
Nope, but we had ourselves very comfortable to
Yeah,
where
but I mean, you get this is in your name, and you all that's in the
It's mine
all
now.
that's in the rearview mirror. So, yeah, it is in your name. You signed the mortgage, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So I guess a question I would have for you is, we're making it work now. We're breaking even. I luckily was a hard worker in my younger time, and we put away a nice emergency fund, a little under $100,000. So we have that to fall back on. But my worry is if something were to go wrong, boiler, roof, you name it, and it could all go away very, very quickly.
Yeah, what I'm going to do is talk to one of our one of our Ramsey trusted real estate agents in the area, have them come out and look at the property, and give you a fair appraisal on what they think they could put it on the market for. You might be surprised pleasantly that you could sell it and get out from under it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not, let's say your numbers are correct and you owe $750 and it's worth $700 today. I mean, if you hang on 2 years, you can sell it and get out of it because it will have gone up enough to cover this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Do you
not
recommend doing any renovations to try to increase the value or save that rainy day fund?
depends on what they're doing, what it is. Do I want to spend $100,000 on this? No. But if I could spend $20,000 of my $100,000 and make this thing worth $800,000, absolutely. And then sell it. Right?
Yep, no, that makes sense because
Yeah.
we wanted to buy. So it kind of, in a way, we didn't have to put money down. So there was pros and cons to all of this.
No, you don't want this house. You don't want this house. Your wife doesn't want to live in this house. This house represents, every time you walk in the front door, it represents stupid stuff you did when you were 23 and shouldn't have done, and your parents misled you on.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes up in my throat every time I walk in there if I'm you.
Yep, it does. I have my days where it's good and then other days.
I don't have any good days if it's me. I'm out of there as soon as I can get out of there and start my life fresh with my wife somewhere clean, and screw this. Put it in the rearview mirror, man.
Why not sell it now, Dave? What would be?
He can't get out of it. He's got. Oh, wait a minute! You got $100,000. What am I thinking
That's what I'm
about?
saying. He's got $100,000 cash.
Oh crap! Put the thing on the market and sell it. What am I thinking about? Thank you, Ken.
I was waiting
I don't
for
know
it.
what in the world. Golly, yeah, you got $100,000. You're $50,000 in the hole. Sell it
Yeah.
as fast as you can. Get a Ramsey trusted real estate agent over there right now and get this thing gone.
Yeah.
Everything about this thing that you have brought up in the entire time I have known you, Michael, has been negative. There was nothing positive in this story. Put this in your rearview mirror and move on. And when you write a check for $50,000, anytime I do something stupid and it costs me money, and I have done plenty of that in my life, I always put stupid tax in the 4 column of the check. Down there at the bottom where you write the check, it says 4, put stupid tax. When I was 23, I was stupid, and my parents misled me, and they screwed me over, and I'm hurt, and I'm angry, and this is my stupid tax check. And thank God I had $100,000 saved to be ready for it. Mm-hmm. And now it's in my rearview mirror, and I'm moving on. And that's me if I'm you. I'm out of there. God,
and
what in the world am I
And he can stack
thinking?
that cash back. He's financially sound outside of that.
Yeah, you're making $160. You're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Just get this weight out, the emotional, relational, financial weight out from around your neck. You're trying to go swimming with a concrete block shoes, man. Mm-hmm. Get out of there. Be done with this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. That's good. God, I don't know why I can't add. That's so aggravating.
Well, you had a lot of information you were processing.
No, I mean,
but I was sitting there going,
sixth grader could have done
that.
That
$100,000 is a real nice oasis to get out of this deal.
Yeah. But the other thing is this: what normally happens to the human brain, and I'm going to accuse Michael's brain of this right now, is when you're in a negative situation, you tend to undervalue things. Mm-hmm. So I do think when the real estate agent comes over from Ramsey Trusted, RamseySolutions.com, click on agent, click on real estate. when they come over, they're probably going to give him some good news.
Yeah, I think
on
so.
values, because he's probably dealing with, well, I thought, it's just, and I looked it up on Zillow, which is worthless, and then I'm going to actually find out what the thing is worth, and I'm going to go ding, 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 ding. I'm really out of here now.
Yeah,
because I don't have to write a check at all. Is maybe what he's going to find.
I hope so.
That'd
That's
be
what
great.
we hope.
That'd be great. I might be right and I might be wrong, but I'm probably right. This is the Ramsey Show. Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Thank you for joining us, America. We're so glad you're here. If you didn't know, it's Financial Literacy Month, and one of the ways we're celebrating that is to take questions from students at high schools that are teaching our Foundations in Personal Finance curriculum. Today's question comes from Chelsea in Florida.
I'm 16 years old, and my dad has been following the baby steps for several years. I really look up to him for that, but it can be hard sometimes when my friends have brand name clothes, live in beautiful houses, and go to extravagant vacations. How can I appreciate what my dad is doing? Will our sacrifice allow us to do those things someday? I got chuckled just reading that because I can just see a 16-year-old watching all that and watching the comparison stuff fly, and they're on Instagram or the TikTok or whatever, the Snapchat, whatever the things are that these kids are on. And, I get it. It's hard because you don't appreciate the sacrifice that dad's making that is not only going to set him and your mother and the whole family up, but it's also modeling the way for you to be very, very wealthy. And so I'd lean in if I were you, Chelsea, and I'd sit down and have dad explain the why of what they're doing and how it's actually impacting the family and expenses and savings and what the short-term and the long-term advantages are. Sit down and be patient enough to let mom and dad explain the why and the how it's impacting them and how it's going to impact you. And I think if you do that, I think you're going to see some really awesome emotion. You're going to understand that it's not about sacrifice just for the sake of sacrifice. And I think you're going to learn some valuable lessons. And I would understand sacrifice through real facts and real figures. And then I would ask you to sit back and say, well, what's life going to be like on the other side of these baby steps? And how, if I don't get into the mess that my mom and dad got into, how much money could I actually have in the bank at 30, 35, 40, and 45? I think that's the advice I'd give you on this question.
Yeah, will our sacrifice allow us to do those things someday? You'll be gone. You're 16. You're going to be gone. You'll be in college. You'll be out of college and married and start having kids. And then your dad and mom are going to be able to enjoy it. But, I mean, probably in the next 2 years before you're 18, is your family suddenly going to become wealthy and take you on Mediterranean cruises? I doubt it. I doubt it. Unless your dad's making $1 million a year and he's just being a tightwad, which that's different than the baby steps.
Right.
But if he's just simply living like no one else so that later they can live like no one else, or cleaning up a mess or cleaning up the debt or walking out the process, it's going to be a little while.
Yeah.
Even, let's say they were debt-free today.
Yeah.
They did their debt-free scream today and you're 16. Still, 2 years from now, they're not suddenly going to become multimillionaires.
That's right.
So I think the best part of the whole equation is this: godliness with contentment is great gain. And so those people who have, and Chelsea, you're asking a wise, mature question for someone who's 36, but for someone who's 16, you're amazing. You're absolutely amazing to ask this question. Very mature, very wise question. And I will tell you, I think the most important financial principle you can possibly learn is contentment. if you can learn to sit where you are and be comfortable, you can stay out of debt. Because debt's trying to get you something that you think is going to make you happy, and it's not going to. Or going to make your life okay because your life's not okay now.
Yeah.
Contentment. And with that's gratitude. And you're an amazing young woman. But do I think you're going to get a Louis Vuitton purse for your 17th birthday? I doubt it. I doubt that's on the horizon. So I think I'm going to start looking at the other people's lives and realizing that, I used to look at nice cars at a stoplight and go, wow, man, that must be nice. And then I found out that the nice car at the stoplight probably has a $1,400 car payment. So I don't really want to trade places with that goober. No thanks. I'll pass. Open phones at 888-825-5225. James is in Des Moines. Hi, James. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hello there. How are you?
Better than I deserve. How can I help?
Well, I've found myself in a kind of interesting situation. About 3 years ago, I made a career change, and I went into construction and mechanics, and I went from $25,000-$30,000 a year to $45,000. Now I'm making over $100,000.
Yay!
The majority of my life, honestly, the majority of my life, I've been so poor that I haven't really built up any debt or credit because nobody would give me any credit cards.
Great.
So now I'm at a point where I don't know, am I maxing out my 401k? Do I do an IRA? How much do I put into savings? It used to be I would buy the $3 pork chop because that's what I could afford. Now I have the option of the $24 ribeye. But if I keep on doing that, then I just don't know what the next step is because I've never been here. I've never had financial literacy from my family. I'm not living penny to penny. I do have a couple thousand saved up.
How old are you?
It's just one of those. 36.
Are you married?
Single, no kids.
Oh, good for you. Okay.
No mortgage. I travel 11 months out of the year, and my work pays for my lodgings, and they pay for my vehicle.
And you make $100 on top of that.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Wow, you ought to build banks of money. Okay, so here, one thing will cause you to win. One thing will cause you to win.
Yep.
Start telling your money what to do before you wonder where it went. It's called a budget.
Fair enough. Yep.
So download the EveryDollar app, and I will give you a 1-year subscription to the premium version where it hooks to your bank, okay? So download the EveryDollar app and start telling your money what to do. Because you already know that I don't need to spend it all.
Right.
You just told us that. And I do have a little margin now. I don't have to eat dog food. Now I can eat good food.
Yeah. And honestly, I've been listening since it was rice and beans and beans and rice.
Yeah.
And that's what it's been. So I'm like, wait, I don't know.
Well, now you don't have any debt. You don't have any personal overhead to amount to anything.
No.
So you ought to be able to save like a crazy guy, and you ought to be able to have some enjoyment in your budget, just intentionality. I just want you to sit down and say, okay, I got $8,000, I got $6,000 coming home every month. I don't have a car payment. I don't have a house payment. I don't have any food issues. So what can I, how am I going to spend this $6,000? And I want you to give every one of those $6,000 a name, and there's only 3 things you can do with money. You can invest and save it, you can give it, and you can enjoy it, and you should do all 3.
And so how do I learn the ratio on those 3? Because I was raised with 10% tithe, which I still do.
Good.
The investing, I figure I could get that with my IRA and my 401k. I'm very nervous of stocks. I don't even want to play that game.
Okay.
And then it's the enjoyment part. Like, I could afford a trip to New Zealand, but do I really need to go to New Zealand? Sounds like it would be fun, but
Sounds like you need to. You just have to save up for it. So you walk the baby steps out. So we want you to get 3 to 6 months expenses right away. Dave has led you to the budget. Once you figure out what you actually have to save every month with your minimal expenses, we want you putting 3 to 6 months expenses in the bank. That's baby step 3. Now you got a really fat emergency fund. After that, you start investing 15% of your income, and go to RamseySolutions.com and find a SmartVestor Pro. I know you're traveling all over the place, but maybe Des Moines, that's your base, and sit down and they know our strategy, and start an investment strategy there. And you're going to make up ground really fast with your low overhead, James. And now, like Dave is saying, you're giving it, and you're going to New Zealand all cash. I mean, you're really set up. So the budget is the first step. And then baby steps 3 and 4 are right there in front of you.
Yeah, I think you can eat a nice steak, go to New Zealand, invest in your 401k aggressively, and be generous, all 3 with your income and your living situation. I think you're going to be able to do all 3 things and not do harm to any one of them mathematically. This is The Ramsey Show. Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is our co-host. So we were telling the last guy who's making more money he's ever made in his life, how do you take care of that? How do you make it behave? Well, you make it behave. A budget is telling your money what to do instead of wondering where it went. And the best way to do that is to use the EveryDollar app. Now, the EveryDollar app is the world's best budgeting app. And tens of millions of people are signing up for it. It is crazy how this has exploded, and we thank you for that. You can download the EveryDollar app for free in the App Store or Google Play today. It's very easy to do, or just go to everydollar.com if you want to do it for your desktop. But until you start telling your money what to do, you're not going to win with it. It's simple. I don't like being on a budget. Well, then you don't like telling yourself what to do. What in the world is that? That's weird. So tell yourself what to do. Tell yourself, self, this is what I need to do. And if self will behave, then self can get what self wants. It's not hard. This is how the deal works. All right, in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage is Rachel from Vancouver. She has a question. Hi, Rachel. How are you?
Hi, great. Thank you. Have you had Canadians on your show before?
Oh, sure. They're not that rare.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I wanted to ask this question today. It's an honor to be on your show. So all of my mom's relatives and my extended family live in poverty in the Philippines. Mm-hmm. We care and we have empathy about their circumstances. Some expect help and some don't. Mm-hmm. But it's hard to discern how much to be helping them. And I wanted to ask, what would that look like?
Okay.
How could I help them?
The principle that we use with the Ramsey Family Foundation, if we're going to help someone, mm-hmm. With money, and whether it's an individual or whether it's a situation, if you are not helping them take the steps to sustainability, okay, then you're just throwing good money after bad.
Yeah.
And so in other words, if I sent one of your relatives $5,000 and it doesn't change their anything, mm-hmm. It's just like that money runs out and they're right back where they were, then we wasted the $5,000 and it wasn't really helpful.
Exactly.
It felt warm and fuzzy at the moment, but it wasn't really helpful. And so what can I do that would help them get a rung or two up the ladder as they climb out of poverty? What could we do with that? Now that I'd get really interested in helping someone I loved. Okay? Mm-hmm. And so, for instance, in a couple of cases, we have bought a piece of real estate, and it wasn't in the Philippines. It was somewhere else. It was in the Far East, but it was a rice plantation, and gave it to these people, and now they are the owners of a farm and a piece of real estate, and they're excellent at growing rice in that particular area, and that's an example of okay. So you put, I don't know, $20,000, $50,000 into that. Mm-hmm. Now they've got something that for the next decade they can use to double, triple, quadruple their income.
Yeah.
And so we gave them a tool to lift themselves out because it's sustainable. But if I'd just given them $50,000 cash, it would, or $10,000 or $20,000 cash, it would have just evaporated.
Yeah, that's right. They
And
wouldn't
so
know
what can I do like that? How can I help them start a business? How can I help them get an educational certification of some kind, go to school? How can I help someone that causes their income to come up and their perception of themselves and their future to come up and stay up? Then I get all excited about doing that. That's my best obligation. But just to throw money over the fence and feel good, it generally doesn't work.
Yeah, of course. My sister and I grew up with our mom growing broke sometimes because she was raising us as a single mom, but then also trying to help her family. And so she was just survival mode the whole time.
She was caught in that cycle. Yeah. And if you look back now, is what I'm saying true? I mean, do you look back at the money that she sent over there? Did it change anything?
No.
So all of her sacrifice.
Yeah.
Because she was just throwing money over the fence. Maybe, I don't know, but I mean that's how I measure it. Is I don't mind being generous, but I don't want to be randomly generous. I want to be intentionally generous and helpful.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I'm just contributing to the problem.
Yeah, definitely. Which is why I wanted to raise the question. I haven't seen a video on it yet, but I would have loved to discuss it with you. And that sounds great.
What's the source of the problem?
Just the economic situation that they're in. I mean, the whole economy. It's not I mean, the average household income in the Philippines is what? Do you know?
I don't know. No.
It's fairly low, though.
It's fairly low, and most of them haven't. I mean, she escaped which was great, and she gave us a great life. But yeah, just with what their day-to-day looks like, we've compared, and I mean, $20 to me is a long way for them. So yeah, it's just something that I wanted to do differently than how my mom did it.
Yeah, so I want to be helpful.
Yeah.
Not just feel obligated.
Yeah.
And so I don't, you know, and I think you can be both.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you can do the right thing and honor the family in that regard, but not do it in a way that
enables them.
I don't think in your mom's case. I don't think it was enabling, because they weren't misbehaving. You know, they're just in poverty. That's not a misbehavior. It's just a situation, and so. But it is still, the money still didn't move the needle.
Yeah,
you know, it didn't fix it. You know, so what I want to do is fix it. I want to be a solution. You know, with these dollars.
There's not enough coming in. Right.
Yeah.
And so today's point, when you give money like that, it may keep them afloat for a while, but it's still eventually runs out.
The burn rate's still there. It burns back up.
If I were you, and you know that culture, and you know you've got people on the ground, I'd be figuring out how people do get out. What are the pathways on the ground in the Philippines to get out? I would do research. Now, I know absolutely nothing, so it's kind of a fun scenario. I would say, okay, for people to escape poverty in the Philippines, what are the above board paths? What are they? And then today's point, based on what I could do, I would try to help fund a pathway, a ladder, if you will, to where it's self-sustaining.
Yeah,
that's the idea. I would do some research.
You got a good heart. Thank you for asking your question.
Yeah. It's a good question.
Thanks for joining us.
That's a tough one too, Dave.
Absolutely. Zachary is with us. Zachary's in Fort Worth, Texas. Hi, Zachary. How are you?
I'm doing great, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Yeah, so I have a question about 529 accounts for my daughter's college fund. My question is, what happens to that money if my daughter decides that college isn't right for her, or something like she ends up getting a full ride? Are there penalties on that money if I want to pull it out and use it for something else? Are there other qualified expenses, stuff like that?
Okay. If she gets scholarships, you're allowed to pull out of the 529 the cash equivalent of the scholarship. So if the school's $40,000 a year and she gets a free ride because she's valedictorian or whatever, or volleyball scholarship or whatever it is, I don't care, and she gets a full ride, then you can pull $40,000 out with no penalty at all. Whatever the equivalent of the scholarship is, you can pull that out. Okay? Number two, you can transfer the money to anyone in your family. Not just, you could transfer it to, if your wife wanted to go back to school, do some graduate work, you can use it for that. If you want to take a class, anybody, you got if your daughter has other siblings, you got other children, anywhere up and down like that, you can do that. Number 3, if you leave it alone for a long time, I don't recommend this, she can actually roll it into a Roth IRA up to about $30,000 worth. And then the last answer is, yes, there'll be penalties on the growth. And so if you have put in $30,000 and it's grown to $100,000, then you would have penalties only on the $70,000. So you won't have penalties except on the growth, and so you won't get to keep all of the growth. You'll have taxes and some penalties on it if you just straight up cash it out. But that, you know, so I wouldn't overfund a 529, but I wouldn't abandon the idea of a 529 just because of those issues. I would certainly have a kid's college fund in today's world. This is the Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day, Matthew 7:13 and 14. Enter by the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the way is easy that leads to destruction, and those who enter by it are many. For the gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life, and those who find it are few. Theodore Roosevelt said, in any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The worst thing you can do is nothing. Whoa, there we go. Yeah, when in doubt, do something with vigor, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
What was the Patton quote? I used to use it all the time. A mediocre plan executed with great enthusiasm is better than a plan never executed at all.
Exactly right. It's like we're talking directly to Congress right now.
Consistently talking to Congress right now.
Yes.
It never does any good. April is in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hi, April. How are you?
Hey, Mr. Ramsey, how are you doing?
Having trouble hearing you, darling. Can you speak directly into your phone?
Hey, Mr. Ramsey, can you hear me now?
Nope. We'll put you on hold to see if we can get a good connection that's usable. Open phones here at 888-825-5225. You guys jump in and we'll talk with you. So, Ken, the thing I have learned, back to that Theodore Roosevelt quote, in any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The worst thing you can do is nothing. The thing I figured out in decision making that in the financial world is that people who get paralysis of the analysis never invest.
Yeah.
And you're better off to just get started investing. So an example of that is, as we did the largest study of millionaires ever done in North America, 10,167 of them, we found that they were not in the top 1% or even 5% of high quality investors. Mm-hmm. In other words, they weren't super knowledgeable, super sophisticated.
Yeah.
They weren't any of those things. Okay. Instead, the mutual funds that they had picked out were above average, but they weren't like the best mutual funds on the planet. They weren't the highest performing. They hadn't studied every nuance of the mutual fund and picked out the top fund of every category. They just picked out good, above average funds and put money in them.
Yeah.
All the time.
Consistency.
All the time.
Yeah.
No, the point is, do something.
Do something.
Is so much better than sitting around and having a freaking theory.
It's absolutely right. This is also a leadership application, too. When leaders have tough decisions that have to be made, weak leaders do nothing at all. They just sit there and they stew and they look for polls or what's the cranky people in the office going to say if I do this, as opposed to taking the best information you have at the time and making the best decision that you can. Is it ultimately going to be the right decision? You don't know. That's leadership. And so this applies in so many areas. It's just you've got to do something. Just show up and lead. So, do something.
Open phones at 888-825-5225. April is in Charlotte. Let's try it again, April. See if he cleared up. How you doing?
Hey, Mr. Ramsey, can you hear me now?
Just barely. You cut out half the call. How can we help?
I recently had a house fire about a month ago. We're no longer able to live in the home. And since then, kind of made the decision that me and my husband need to separate. And so my sister had said that she would help me to put a down payment on a house by borrowing escrow on my mom's house that she owns, with the GoFundMe that was set up and money that I've had donated and what I've been putting back. I've managed to get about $8,000 in the past month put back. And so my worry is that if she borrows escrow on my mom's house and something was to happen to me, she'd be in a big financial burden, which I don't want to do to her. And I don't want to get myself in over my head. So I have found 2 rental properties that I'm considering with me and my daughter. One is $900 a month for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath mobile home in a mobile home park on a well. The other one is $1,600 a month, and it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home with city water. The hiccup is the one that's $900 is 40 minutes away from her school and most of my employment, and the other one is 2 minutes away from her school and closer to my employment.
What do you make?
I am a mobile. I make about $4,000 a month. I am a mobile dog groomer. I've had my own business for 11 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I'm kind of like,
April, you've had a lot of trauma.
Yeah,
and a lot of things happen to you. I mean, if you've got a marriage that's going sideways and you had a house fire, those are 2 very, very traumatic things. It's very difficult to make decisions in the middle of all that. Okay?
Yes,
so
sir.
I'm sorry. So you're hustling around trying to find a place to land, and that all makes sense. The great news is in Charlotte, North Carolina, there's more than 2 properties for rent.
Well, we're not really in Charlotte. He asked the closest city. We're in a little town called Rockwell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know Rockwell.
So there's not a whole lot.
But there's more than 2. There's more than 2.
The stuff that I have been finding is
there's more than 2, and you need to find another one because neither one of these work. One's too expensive, and the other one's weird and outside of the realm of reasonableness, and you've already talked yourself out of it. Okay? So, and you definitely don't need to be buying a house in the middle of all this trauma. You're going to make a really bad decision there. So please go find you something to rent that's close to work and that you can afford. That's simple. And maybe it's a 2-bedroom apartment instead of a 3-bedroom house or a 2-bedroom trailer 40 minutes away on well water. Nothing wrong with well water, by the way. But
I'm just thinking, like, I'm not having to have a water payment if I want a well.
Well, that'd be nice. That'd be nice, but that's not true. That's not. Well. You got problems a lot bigger than a water payment, kiddo. So,
yes, sir.
You can handle a water payment if you get a $1,100 property to rent, which you can actually afford. That's close enough to work, close enough to her school. Okay, and you're going to be okay then. But anytime, we were just talking about decisions before we picked up with you, and anytime the only options I have, and you've given me 3 of them, and they're all bad options, all that means is I don't have enough options yet. Mm-hmm. I need more things to consider. Buying is a bad idea. With all the stuff you've been through, you've had a really hard time right now. It's a horrible time to be buying for you. Please don't buy. And living out of town, you've already decided you weren't doing that, and you were trying to justify doing the one that's too expensive. And so you've already decided you weren't doing the trailer. Because you know.
Because another problem that I'm having is my husband advised me not to claim my income because most of my work is cash. So when I'm going to rent, no, they're not wanting to really rent to me because I don't have employment history. It was recommended to me to get reference letters from people that I work for and people that I make payments to, showing that I can make the payments and that I work.
Do you have a business account for your business?
I do not.
Okay, so you're not even depositing this money. You're just walking around with cash in your pocket.
No, because he's advised me not to claim it, and so I'm scared that the IRS is going to find out that I've got money that I can't prove where it come from.
This guy's a real peach. Yeah. Okay. So you need to start paying your taxes, and you need to set up a business. You need to set up a business checking account. And in the meantime, though, you can sit down with someone and go, look, I've got these 16 clients. I do this on a cash basis. I'm a landlord. If someone sat down to me and said they were a mobile dog groomer and they had 65 clients, I can do the math and know you can pay the bill. Okay? And so, and that's not scaring me as a landlord. Now, if you got some little, person that doesn't have any power in some apartment complex or something, it might be harder. But you can sit down and work your way through this. April, you got to find some more options. Don't justify or rationalize in the middle of all this pain into bad decisions. It's a bad idea. Slow down. You can do this. You can do this. And hey, I'm sorry we picked you up a minute ago and couldn't get through. This is The Ramsey Show. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.